Well, hello to everybody here. It's Teresa Sanderson. Very excited to connect with you today. And today we are talking about managing unprofessional behavior in nursing, 5 tips for nursing leaders. So if you're a nursing leader, what I'm sharing today is specifically for you. And I hope that you're going to find it helpful and useful in managing and leading, not really managing, but leading your team. So unprofessional nursing behavior. Let's talk about that. According to the Code of Ethics and, scope of practice, all these things, unprofessional behavior in nursing ranges from things like falsifying documentation to incivility. It could be patient abandonment, it could be bullying. So it's kind of all over the world. But nursing professional standards exist for the full scope of nursing practice. And what I want to talk about today is the nurse's responsibility to maintain a work environment suitable for excellence in nursing practice. Okay. If you don't know it, according to the ANA Nursing Code of Ethics, provision number 6, it is the responsibility of every nurse to ensure a positive work environment where nurses can practice with excellence. Why then have we allowed a culture of nurses eat their young to exist for decades? What a conundrum. So over the past several weeks, I've been discussing how the nursing leadership model has really been designed to promote the failure of our nursing leaders. This is because when adequate staffing is not available, it is usually the nurse manager or the director of nursing who's got to step in to cover necessary patient care needs, right? This means that leadership duties are consistently left undone, and this sets the stage for nursing leadership failure. Why? Because nurse leaders have very little time to lead because they're always putting out the fires of inadequate staffing. Okay? And so this leads to another question. How can we address unprofessional behaviors in nursing and not risk losing another nurse? Okay? So it's quite a corner, isn't it, that nursing leaders are backed into because if I rock the boat and I really want to encourage this positive work environment, I could lose a nurse in the process. So first of all, I cannot act like I have all the answers, okay? But what I do want to do is offer up some simple strategies that I've used in the past to address unprofessional behaviors and improve the culture of the work environment. If you like them, great. Choose what you like. If they don't make sense for you, fine, just scroll on past. But what I'm hoping is that you might find a little something here that would be useful for you. One of the things that I am really big on, so number one, is just setting the standard for behavior and contribution to a positive work environment, doing the interview and onboarding process. Included as a component of the position description and the evaluation process. Let your team know where you stand. Okay. And this, you're already doing an interview anyway. You already have to schedule an onboarding process anyway. This is just taking the opportunity during that time to really emphasize your expectations here. Okay. So when we can do this from the beginning, and even talk about it at interview, as I've done many times in the past, to say, our culture is not perfect around here. We are working on culture right now. And one of the things that we're going to have zero tolerance for is XYZ. Okay. What's your position on that? How do you feel about that? Right? Let's start the dialogue. Let's start it early. Number 2, educate your team on how to respond assertively to incivility with a go-to assertive statement. I have always encouraged nurses to have a go-to assertive statement for situations that make them uncomfortable or that when they're experiencing incivility. And so my go-to assertive statement sounds something like this. I feel really uncomfortable talking about other people when they aren't in the room. And I would appreciate it if we could confine our discussion to the patient's care. See what I mean? Nothing angry in that. Nothing blaming in that. It's just, hey, this makes me uncomfortable, so I'd appreciate it if we do this. Okay? Another version, I really feel uncomfortable when you talk to me this way, this close to my face. Okay, and I would appreciate it if we could step away from each other a little bit and maybe talk about this later. See what I'm saying? There's a lot of ways to be assertive, but have a go to assertive statement that you can use when uncomfortable situations come up. As the leader, dress professionally, right? You, as the leader, set the standard for or set the example that your team will follow. Okay. So you don't need to be in starch scrubs or a business suit every day, but you do need to mirror your expectation of professional attire. Okay. We can't ask other people to do what we're not willing to do ourselves, right? So dress professionally. And when you do that, that's going to enhance the work environment. Number four, educate your team on how to communicate succinctly and professionally. When giving report to nurses, physicians, other departments, professionalism elevates when communication is easy and reliable, and your nursing team is going to become favorites among other departments when they communicate well. And this is proven. I mean, physicians love talking with nurses who come to the table with all of their ducks in a row, all of the information easily presented, and maybe even a recommendation of what to do next. What physicians or other departments typically do not like is somebody who's scrambling to gather information while they're on the line, and don't have really an organized presentation that flows and leads them to the same conclusion that you want them to reach. So educate your team on those kind of things. And lastly, call out unprofessional behavior when it happens. There's an old leadership saying that a hot stove burns every time. And while I'm not advocating, using a hot stove or anything like that, and I'm not a leader who believes in punishment. I do believe in constructive feedback delivered on the spot with fairness and justice every time and when it occurs. Okay. If I'm there and I'm saying this is important, I'm going to take 90 seconds and go over there and address it. Okay. Doesn't have to be a 20-minute or 30-minute thing, but I need to go over there and take a stand on it and follow through. And that's just consistency in leadership. But we want to do it across the board with fairness and justice, right? It can't happen to one person and not happen to another. It's got to be consistent. So in performance improvement, back in the day, quality improvement, performance improvement, we learned that what gets measured gets improved. Managing unprofessional behavior is no different. When people know you're looking at it, when your team knows that you're watching it and you're a champion for positive culture, it's going to improve. It has no choice. It has no choice but to improve when people know that you are monitoring it and taking action on it. Okay. So I hope you found this helpful today, and I hope that you can be encouraged as a nurse leader, because nursing culture is something that definitely needs to change. And that's why the nifty Nurses Feed Their Young membership is launching. Well, it's already launched. It's launched, and it's launched for the purpose of providing a safe space for nurses to work together toward the common goal of transforming nursing culture. Through our monthly networking and continuing education events, we will intentionally develop the leader in every nurse so we can say once and for all, no more nurses eat their young. Join us now and get your first month free, and I hope to see you there. Bye.